Today we are talking Whoop Strap 3.0. I've had it for 11 months, nearly a year, so I think it's time for a long-term review. What's up, Superhumans? BT here. If you are new to this channel, I like to create content that's going to help you move, feel, and perform better, both mentally and physically. So if you're into that sort of thing, if that's your jam, consider hitting that subscribe button. Last November, I got a Whoop, so I've had it for almost a year, and I've done a lot with it. I've swam, hiked, biked, paddleboarded, fished, done a ropes course, done an obstacle course, trained a ton of jiu-jitsu, traveled across the country in it, and it's accurately measured all of those. Along with that, they've made some updates. They've gotten rid of some minor bugs. They've improved the interface, gave it a cleaner look. They've even added some really cool features during times of COVID-19. So with all of the updates updated and these new features, do I think Whoop 3.0 is worth it? Normally, I would do a huge extensive review, but I kind of already did that with my first video, the Apple Watch versus Whoop. This, I just kind of want to give you 5 reasons why I think Whoop is worth it. Number 1 is the battery life. This could honestly be reason 1 through 5. You see, coming from an Apple Watch, it seems like whenever I grab my Apple Watch, it's telling me I need to charge it. That's so annoying and inconvenient. But the Whoop Strap 3.0 has a 5-day battery life, which is awesome. And it's rad that you don't even have to take it off. I love that, because they've ingeniously made this little battery that slips on over the Whoop like so. Once it goes on, lights come on, it starts charging. When it's done, you pop it off. You never have to take the thing off. Don't wear this into the shower, but this thing you can. Number 2 is ease of use. Probably the most important feature of a fitness tracker when looking for a fitness tracker is that it takes all of that confusing data and metrics and makes it easy to understand. And Whoop does this better than anyone by using colors. Whoop measures your strain from the previous day, along with several factors that make up your recovery, which is your heart rate variability, your resting heart rate, and the amount of sleep you got, and it gives you a simple and easy to understand color wheel. Green means you're ready to peak and perform. Yellow means you're moderately capable of performance, and red means you are tanking and you should probably chill. When comparing my Apple Watch to the Whoop, it compares a ton. It even does VO2 max. It tracks so much data. You can go really nerdy with it. But the hardest part about it is you have to interpret it. And that can be really tough if you're not an expert. But Whoop takes all of this confusing data and makes it super simple and easy to understand. And because of that, it saves you a ton of time. I flip open the app, boom, I'm at 15% recovery. I only got 7.17 hours of sleep, 7 hours and 17 minutes. That was a really odd way of saying that. But I can come in and check all the metrics that I need to know really fast, and then I'm off with my day. Number 3 is the sheer amount of activities and its adaptability. Whoop offers a ton of different activities to choose from to track, as you can see here. Look at all that. Ooh, they added jiu-jitsu. Literally had no idea. This is the first time I'm seeing it. That's freaking cool. All right, I wonder how that's gonna differ than wrestling, because usually it recognizes as wrestling. I wasn't expecting that. That wasn't a part of the script. Boom. All right, so you can see, look how much stuff. Now, even cooler than the amount of activities is Whoop's ability to adapt and understand what activities you do most. After you track them, it recognizes the metrics specifically that fit with a specific activity. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm losing you. And whether it's the specifics of my heart rate, the amount of calories I'm burning, session length, maybe even the accelerometer, it knows the difference between a wrestling activity, a weightlifting activity, a functional fitness activity, or even when I go hiking. And I think that's freaking awesome. So now, after a year, I don't have to log anything. It just knows what I'm doing and accurately tracks it. The whole reason I picked up a Whoop was to be able to use a wearable while doing jiu-jitsu. It was to also compare to the Apple Watch, but in jiu-jitsu, you're not allowed to wear any of this stuff because you could like hit somebody's eye and open up their eye or something like that, so it's a safety thing. But Whoop then introduced this. I saw my friend Mio wearing this, and that's when I was like, oh, now I can try a Whoop. So this is a neoprene sleeve, and I'll show you what you do here. Take this off. Look at that. Look at that. That's how much I use this thing. So you slide off the strap, you take the Whoop head unit, and you put it in here, and then you slide this over your bicep. And I have lost so much weight in the last 2 weeks that this doesn't fit at all anymore, but I'll get into that in a second. So now we've got this nice impact sleeve that doesn't hurt anybody, can't open anybody up. So underneath my gi or no gi, I can track all that super valuable data and not put anybody's health or face at risk. And I will say, I'm so stoked I did. It was so interesting to see how jiu-jitsu, how the nature of that sport was so different compared to the functional fitness I was doing, or maybe a beach volleyball session, and just how it impacted my recovery and my health. It took a lot more out of me than I initially thought. I knew jiu-jitsu was hard, but it was really crazy and interesting to see what it was doing in real time. So stoked I got it. One quick note about the strap is I've had this for a year. This is the original one that I've gotten, and as you can see, there's very little fraying on this. Like, it's held up incredibly well. I've never had to replace it. I think a replacement strap is anywhere from 30 to 45 bucks, depending on the version you get. This is what came with it. It's stretchy, it's comfortable, hasn't needed replacing yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to need replacing for another year. So that's great. During the last 11 months that I've had Whoop, they've made some updates. They've changed the interface. Like I said, they gave it a cleaner look. They fixed some bugs. They even actually added some stuff for social media. So you could go on and you could share in real time the activity you were doing, and people got to see the kind of strain you were going through. They could see your heart rate elevating, bumping, calories burned. Pretty darn cool stuff. But for me, the coolest thing that they added was a metric to help you navigate COVID-19. So as COVID started to hit and it started becoming a big deal in, like, what was that, February, March, Whoop sent out a questionnaire, and it was an invite to participate in a survey. And, well, not a survey, but you could share your data for the next several weeks with Whoop. You could or you couldn't, it was up to you. But what they did is they took a ton of data and they introduced respiration rate. Respiration rate is simply breaths per minute. Now, what they found, because COVID-19 does affect the respiratory system, if you have a significant jump, something like 20% or more in your respiration rate, it's a pretty good indicator that you are getting sick. Maybe not necessarily COVID-19, but there was a strong correlation between the two. So for me, it came as peace of mind. There were plenty of times where I started getting like itchy throat, you start to feel sick, but you could look at your respiration rate from the night before and you're like, oh, it's totally normal. Here's something really interesting. In my last video, I explained that over the last 2 months, I got sick a lot, and I had very gnarly COVID-19-like symptoms. I've been tested twice, both of them came back negative. However, this is the third time where this has happened, where I can barely breathe. I've got fever, got chills, aches, you name it. So, but here's like my normal respiration rate. Typically 15.6 to 16.8. There isn't much deviance. It's going to have some deviance, but nothing substantial. But I come in to where I actually start to get sick, and you can see a massive jump to 18.8. It goes back down. That was like the week, so it happened, and then I was fine like a couple days later. And then it happened again. Again, I've got normal respiration rate, and then bam, you can see I go from 16.1 to 19.6. This was the second time it happened, and it took me weeks to recover. So my respiration rate just shot up, and that was the night before I ended up feeling like absolute crap and ended up having to go to the hospital and then going through a series of tests. And as you can see, over the next few weeks, it started to slowly come down. As I got a little bit better, the respiration rate started to come down. And then after a couple of weeks, it started to become almost normal again, even dipping down to 16.2. I think it's pretty badass that Whoop can, with your permission, collect a bunch of data and then actually give you an update and a resource that's really valuable. And possibly in the future, if something like this were to happen again, I'm sure Whoop would implement something similar, and that's really cool. And the fifth reason to buy a Whoop is the community. One of the features I didn't even know about until just a few months ago was this like community tab. Let's check this out. If I click on the menu, I can actually be added to some groups. A few people have added me to theirs. My buddy Drew, Fit to Fat to Fit, has added me, and I can go down and I can see the strain, the daily strain of everybody that's on the team, which is cool. I can also go to their recovery and see how well they've recovered. Look at that, me, 15%, because I'm still freaking sick. And then you can also check sleep performance, which is pretty awesome. And that person got 100%. Good job, Christina. Now, this might not be a big reason for you as an individual. However, if you are a trainer like me, this could be massive. As a trainer, I have to look at a few things to make sure that my clients are doing everything possible to get them to move in the right direction, right? Like we track food, we try to track sleep, and we try to track performance. And you might be using 3 different apps for all of those. Well, we could cut down on some of those with Whoop. If they have a Whoop, you could just put them into an accountability group like you saw there. So there are my 5 reasons to buy a Whoop. I've really come to enjoy my Whoop, but don't get it twisted. Do people actually say that anymore? No, that was like 10 years ago, wasn't it? Anyway, don't get it twisted. There are still some things that I really don't like about Whoop. And here they are. Top reasons to not buy a Whoop. Number 1, the subscription plan. Oh, God, I really, really hate subscription plans. I get that they're all the trend right now and that everybody wants you to pay a small monthly fee, but there's nothing worse than actually paying a relatively high monthly fee. In the case of Whoop, it's like $30 a month, and never own your own product, because once you've stopped paying, you get to keep the Whoop strap, but it doesn't upload any data. You still have access to old data, but you can't see any new data, rendering it kind of useless. So, not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of not owning the stuff I pay for. Number 2, the second reason to not purchase a Whoop is customer service. When I first did this, I really took it to their customer service. I said it was atrocious. And I will say it's gotten a smidge better. Just a little bit better. The only time I've ever had actual progress with Whoop from a customer service standpoint is by actually connecting with them through their Instagram account. Their website has a bunch of articles that don't have much information on the things you're searching for. So even though the article might sound like it's going to be really beneficial, the substance therein usually lacks. Secondly, if you ever try to email them at their support email, you're not going to get a response. I've never gotten a response to any of my Whoop emails. There was one time where my account, where Whoop stopped showing data, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm pretty sure my account is in good standing. And it ended up being like a software issue for my particular Whoop. They were really good in that they fixed it, and they even told me they fixed it. That's the single solitary time out of 11 months that I've had a good experience with Whoop customer service. But there's also no chat feature on the website. There's really not much help. So if you're going to get help, no, you're probably not going to get it. And your best chance of getting it is through the Instagram account. That was a weird way of saying it. I apologize. And number 3, you don't need one. I know that's a weird, because you could say that just about anything really, but truthfully, that's a legitimate case. Like, you don't need one. There's a great book by Dr. Andy Galpin called Unplugged, where he goes in and he tells you with real scientific data, because he is a scientist, I think at Cal State Fullerton, he's a really smart dude, but him and Brian McKenzie, who's another really smart dude, wrote a book on how fitness trackers are actually screwing up your fitness goals. It's really interesting. I think you should read that before buying a fitness tracker. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you thought this video was informative and helped you make a buying decision, I guarantee you there's somebody just like you out there also wanting the same information. By hitting that like button, you essentially make this video easier for other people to find. So it goes a long way. If you love this video, you want to see more videos like this when they come out, and be eligible for some pretty badass giveaways, which I do, hit that subscribe button. Thanks again so much for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Peace. 4 days. I couldn't even make it out to the car. So what you're saying is the lack of shit, it's not even recording.